go. We're on camera. Before we start, Radhapati is going to, or as part of our starting, I shouldn't say that, we're going to start with a little other side, or another perspective on this.
We, just heard about the LC and the VC and the LCR and and the VCR. So there are apprehensions, and there are obvious apprehensions on the side of the bigger centers where there is larger concentration of companies, and then there is euphoria amongst the visiting centers, who are the smaller ones. Yes, I can go to Delhi, so, but both of those things are unfounded. So now stick with me for another 10 minutes to understand what is the perspective and how do we look at that perspective. Because if you have unreasonable euphoria or if you have unjustified depression, both of them are not required, and that's not the aim of the CCC, to put any of you into that. So then what is the largest big opportunity? Number one, you put whole of ISKCON India, put together, and let us talk out of these 16,000 companies, how many we have contacts with. 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 5,000. What I mean is, the universe is really very large, but our immediate attention is towards safeguarding our own territory, and therefore we feel that, oh, first let me handle this. So the first message is, the pie is much, much bigger than you can even imagine. If you just open up, look at the larger picture, you will see that what is the temptation here? The temptation is, all are my low-hanging fruits which I could pluck, and now somebody else is coming. Whether I plucked them or I didn't pluck them doesn't matter, but they were there for me. I could have plucked them as and when it was convenient to me. But now that I know that a Bangalore is going to visit and a Pune is going to visit Bombay, now Bombay is jittery. But the fact is, Bombay also needs to recognize, and that's just an example, or Delhi also needs to recognize that Bangalore is open, Pune is open, Calcutta is open, Tirupati is open, Kanpur is open. Go down. Go down, go up, go east, west, everywhere. Yeah. So it's not that your territory is getting hit. We are making it a seamless world. There is no territory only. Everybody is going to. Yeah. Please, 2 lessons we learned so far. One, the pie is much bigger than you think. And we have not touched those companies. We have not. We are just talking about the same 50, same 100, same 150 corporates who have been visiting our temples and our centers, courtesy the fantastic preaching done by our acharyas and some senior Vaishnavas. That's all. And we don't want anybody to shh. No. And it's my duty to highlight that there have been cases in fundraising where we have seen, literally 2 parties confronting on, this is my donor and this is my donor, which includes literal fighting as well. Yeah, and hitting each other on the head and bleeding. Yes. I don't want to name the center. What I mean is, because now the main thing, which nobody likes to listen, because nobody wants to go out, and work hard, roll up the sleeves, get yourself muddled a bit, and then ask people for money. That's a tougher route. Just to avoid that tougher route, we hurt other Vaishnavas. That's what we do. I'm sorry, I mean, somehow I'm this time destined to be, which I don't want to, but so the bigger picture is difficult. I was just looking at all the accreditations that, they're lying outside for GEV. Times Network has given, and all the larger bodies have given these. Each of our projects perhaps earn so much and then go out to a corporate. That corporate would be willing to give us something, for the fabulous work that we produce. So look at the larger picture. The larger picture is, sorry to use the word, there is a virgin territory that has not been touched. Go. It's minimum 30 times more than all the companies that have ever been touched by ISKCON. Minimum 50 times, I'm saying. And nobody thinks of that because that's difficult. Why start from ground zero? I mean, I'm just naming 2 or 3, for example, that, Srinathji was a great, donor and trustee and supporting person for this institution. And then in Delhi also, and then in other centers as well. But they are handful. And all of us know that. So we need to reach out and cultivate relationships with the others so that they can give us money. So larger picture in terms of CSR. The second thing is, they are donors. We are looking for CSR partners. There is a C difference in the two. The third thing is, it's not your center that is getting hit. You are getting access to the whole of India. Earlier, we know you were going, and we could hardly do anything about it. I mean, I went to a center and I said, Prabhu, you don't know. People are coming from different cities. And he said, with aplomb, he said, Prabhu, our relationship with corporates is so good. Even a single person comes to the city, we know. I said, yesterday somebody came, met in the evening and left with money. Bye. And you don't know. So that happens. So my request to you is, look at the larger picture and prepare now to go north, east, west, south, because the boundaries have been erased completely. And the whole ground is open for you to go out and play. The second, you want to say something?
No, well, when you finish,
okay.
we'll just...
The second thing is this LC-VC relationship. There is a fabulous opportunity lying there. You knew out of 110 companies in your city and you developed relationship with them. I come to your city saying, I know the 11th guy. You did not know him. I somehow knew. And this will happen by virtue of so many people knowing so many other people who know the corporates. Therefore, I may know people who you would not know, while you may not, I don't reside in your geography. So when I come, and then the first condition that the Bureau said, I will have to go with you. If I'm a VC, you are an LC, both of us will go to that. So you are getting introduced to a new corporate. Why did we do that? We did that so that a uniform brand experience gets communicated to the corporate donor. That is all that's there. Otherwise, in tidbits, people go with semi-baked concept notes and they tar the image of the institution. This was the main reason. So there is another opportunity. Even within your city, you will now have access to people who you did not know existed. The second is, the VC has come for one project. Your doors are open now. We are not saying once the VC leaves, you can't access that company back. Now you can with 3 more projects. And my request is, please look at the other side. The glass is actually half filled. If you can understand that the pie is bigger, the boundaries have been erased, and within your own geography, you will have a greater probability of accessing more corporates, then you will understand this resolution which Bureau has passed in its true spirit. And also, when a VC visits to an LC, I'm just giving you a real life example. If suppose Pune goes to Bangalore, and Pune is raising funds for its education or Gurukul, and Bangalore doesn't have a Gurukul. Now Bangalore cannot say, you know, in near future I'm going to have one, so you can't raise. No, you know, you simply go there, place, but once you return, Bangalore will go to that corporate and say, give me for Food for Life also, which otherwise was not possible. So it's a uniform brand experience that has been our motive in putting this thing in practice. And of course, as a regulatory body, level playing field to be offered to every center is a must, you know, because corporates operate in a different fashion. Couple of more points from a donor's point of view. Some companies give money where their plants are, whether, you know, some companies give money where their customers are. So this would vary. So sometimes some company may be in a geography where, but they will not pay in that geography. They'll pay, so they will sit on that money unless some visiting center approaches them, saying, you know, if you want to give there in that belt, please give money to us. And last thing is, as usual, I often come back, there will be time when you will have nothing to go back and say to your authority, hey, you visited Pune, what happened? Because they'll ask you, and so wherever there are projects which are clashing, because Gine chune kitne hai? 10. There's a school, there's a Gaushala, and very soon in next 2 years we will see every center working on a Gaushala, working on a this and that, so nobody can come. That's the attitude problem that we are trying to, we grappled with it. I mean, when this mechanism was developed, I think it took us more than 3.5 hours back and forth in the Juhu guest house room we were discussing. Just to ensure that people realize and recognize the value of a larger opportunity which is being given, rather than thinking that I am the one who is getting hit most in the process. Is this perspective clear? Is there any question on this one? Yes, Amogli Prabhu.
But just in case somebody approaches, so VC goes to a LC and then LC says, I'm the local don, sorry, I'm a local devotee and you just can't be here. And then the victim VC, he goes to triple C. And triple C consists of
and we're at C.
And triple C consists of all pure-hearted, kind-hearted devotees. They are very forgiving. So now what all we can do to the devotee?
This is a bridge where we will cross. Let's right now just take a positive attitude, and let's try this out, and then we'll see. We'll see, because this, you know, formulating this policy was like Radhapati Prabhu was saying. You know, we went back and forth. We were discussing different things. We can't predict all the various scenarios that are going to happen, and we're going to have to try this out and see, just, you know, where are the problems, where are the issues. In principle, we have a principle now. Like in any area of conflict in our society, we also have mechanisms for dealing with conflicts. And CCC is under the Bureau. The Bureau has its mechanisms. Primarily, it starts with the divisional councils. The divisional councils discuss things. Then it goes up the ladder until things are resolved. So that's basically, but we'll step in and just, you know, see if we can at least sort things out to begin with. And then if we can't, then it starts going into other areas. But I actually didn't finish the entire presentation of this topic, so maybe I should do that, and then we can get into the questions and answers. Or
I just, to Amogli Prabhu, we are coming up with 10 offenses to CCC. So, you can then, so thou shall not. No, but penalizing provisions have actually yet not been thought of. But as Prabhu is mentioning about a escalation policy, where it begins with CCC, moves to the divisional council, and then if need be to IIAC, and then, you know.
But
so on
you know,
and
we're
so forth.
hoping love and trust will prevail.
Yeah.
Do you want to let me finish this one last part of it, and then because this may answer some of the questions that are pending, because we didn't get into, we only got so far as to, okay, these are the you know, policies, then the procedure is like this. We said that the local cultivating representative is obligated to support the visiting center, but how they do that is in these ways. Ideally, it's their choice. They can do it in one of three ways. They can choose to accompany the VC, that's the preferred method. They can give an introduction, written introduction, a little letter. Here, this is to introduce so-and-so, please, who's got such and such project. Or in some cases, they may just give the green light if it's something that, you know, they don't feel is needed any further for whatever method. But it's their choice how to give this support. And the visiting center has to cooperate. They can't say no. I want to go by myself. No. I'm going to go. No. You just stay behind. No. They can't say that. It's up to the local person how they support that relationship. And if there's a negative response from the corporate, that visiting center can't go for future projects and so on and further and so on they must go again to the local LCR. And the visiting center is obligated to keep the local center informed of any progress. Anything that goes on, they have to inform them of any project that's been approved, and they have to keep them in the loop with any project reports. And once they have established a relationship with the corporate, they can then, once they have a relationship and it's going on, they have an MOU, they're doing something, they may initiate something new, but they again have to keep the LCR informed, and they have to meet all the criteria in the earlier, like any other approach.
Sorry, but just one small addition to that previous point. There will be some times when the local center had a relationship or a deal with the corporate, where say corporate funded them for a Gaushala in a particular financial year, and next year the visiting center comes, then the LC doesn't say that no, I have already approached them for Gaushala, because the CSR policy is for a particular financial year, and when the next financial year begins, then the new projects, so VC and LC both would qualify in that case.
Yeah.
Is this point clear?
Unless there is a multi-year agreement.
Yeah.
So, but in either case, the local center, they have priority. If they have a Gaushala project, it's ongoing, they already got some money, then certainly they can tell the visiting center, no, you can't go with your Gaushala project to this donor. They have that right to say that. So they have the basic thing is that the local center does have the priority, but they don't have a solid wall. Now, just the last point in this, very important, that the visiting center must never approach these corporates outside their local area for donations, for sponsorships, for advertising, for festivals, or any other non-CSR program without specific permission. So this is only for CSR, not life membership, not advertising in the souvenir, not temple construction, nothing else. This is only for approved CSR projects. Okay, So now, where's, yes? Yeah, if it's for are you saying if it's for not for CSR, you just go and just do what you like? Is that what you're saying? No, there is ISKCON policy. As far as I know, there's already a policy in ISKCON that devotees from one center are not permitted to visit, to solicit funds in the region, the geographical area, under the responsibility of another center without that center's permission. That has to do with fund solicitation across the board. This is an exemption or a different policy when it comes to CSR. But all other things, from my understanding, it's already, the prerogative. There you do have territory. As far as I understand, there is in ISKCON, I don't know, maybe divisional councils have their own internal setups and so on, but ISKCON does recognize a sort of territorial system when it comes to general fundraising. As far as I know, that's up to the divisional councils. They specify what is the region, the geographical area that is the responsibility of a center. Okay. Well, maybe that you take up with your divisional councils. That's not, we're in CSR here. Yes.
Prabhuji, there is a fundamental understanding here that if any corporate has a crore of, say, CSR funds parked, and they have about, say, 3 to 4 objects with them, we are assuming that they will have object-specific funds, which may not be the case. They have only finite number of funds earmarked for CSR across objects.
Yes.
Now, if some VC comes to a particular city and, so to say, picks up the CSR fund earmarked for their particular object, which exhausts the company's CSR fund for that year, that means if any other LC will not be able to approach that company again that year, it's closed for the year.
Well,
now there must be something that has to be built into it.
Well, that's covered in the first in the criteria, that the local cultivating representative has the right to refuse a visiting center access to a corporate based on a number of criteria. The first criteria is that they have something that they're already presenting. Now, in this case, you're describing a corporate that doesn't have any specific policy.
Object-specific policy.
So then there's no question of, their area, that it's conflict, that it's like, to give it a scenario, somebody, a visiting center says, well, wait a minute. You're going to that corporate for funding your school, but I have something else. So you should let me go because I've got the Goshala to fund or the midday meal to fund. And your response is, yes, but this particular corporate doesn't have an area-specific policy. They're going to decide based on whatever they like to do. Therefore, before you can go for whatever project you have, I must go first and ask, will they fund my project? That's your right.
My question on this specifically, Prabhuji, is that just like you have a sort of intervention in terms of a grievance redressal by the CCC, which is like a post facto thing.
Yes.
In the event of an LC and a VC having some kind of a misunderstanding or a conflict of understanding with regard to pitching to the particular corporate, that is where I think I don't know whether the CCC is armed to that extent that it can actually intervene and say, no, in this case, so and so should approach. Is there such a thing, mechanism? Because it's bound to happen.
Yeah, but I'd say just to...
So you can't get in post facto all the time.
Well, off the top of it, the first thing is you have the right. You have the initial right to refuse. Then the VC has the right to complain. So step one is you refuse. Step two is the VC complains. The VC can't just deny your refusal and go ahead. They have to come to the CCC and get it sorted out.
And the CCC, if I understand correctly, is in a position to for quote unquote arbitrate this, and we either
We'll
of us
have
are
a dialogue. We'll try to figure it out. It's
Actually, the scenario that Rishi Kumar Prabhu has, come up with, where it exists when there is an existing relationship between the LC and that corporate. The rest of the universe is open. Like 100 companies are there, 5 companies the LC is already in touch with, and there is a running project. In that, if there is an object specific, then my understanding is that LC takes precedence and the VC has to back out. Exactly, that's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it's 100 minus 5, so 95, LC can't say anything. But the existing 5, the LC has the right, and then if it is very visible that LC is simply obstructing, then it gets escalated. Sorry if it is sounding complex, I apologize.